There's a time when you have to go, I'm ready to listen to my body. I'm ready to be a caretaker for myself and an advocate for myself. And I want to live the healthiest, happiest, most fulfilling life that I can, not just for me, but for my family, for my friends. I want to feel good. I want to be happy, right? I think we all want that.
Welcome to SHINEABLE, the podcast with insights and inspiration for living your best life. Today, we are talking with Jodi Erickson, a certified Ayurvedic health practitioner who does pranic healing, spiritual counseling, Vedic astrology, and meditation. Listen in as we talk about all things Ayurveda and how knowing your mind-body type can empower your self-care and fast-track your healing. Jodi Erickson is here today. I'm so excited to have you on the show, Jodi.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. And today we are talking about something that maybe our listeners have heard of and maybe they haven't. Mm-hmm. And for me, I know one of the hardest things is just to pronounce the word Ayurveda, I believe.
Yes.
Woo, 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 woo.
Yes.
So
I know a lot of people say Ayurveda, which you're not wrong, but it's mostly pronounced Ayurveda. So.
Okay, cool. So why don't we just start off with what the heck Ayurveda is? Is it a shampoo? Is it a protein drink? Is it a lifestyle? You're an expert, so why don't you just tell us what it is?
Okay, well, Ayurveda is really more of a healthcare system. It's been around for over 5,000 years, originating from India. And it's a holistic healthcare system. So what holistic means, it's addressing all aspects of your life: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And so what Ayurveda was so amazing about Ayurveda is that it looks to see what the root cause of your ailments are. So a lot of times, we're used to, in kind of Western medicine, or just living over here, we're like, I have a headache, I'm going to take some Tylenol. I have acid indigestion, I'm going to take some Pepsid, just things like that. And really a lot of that is just a Band-Aid. What's causing the acid reflux? What's causing the headaches? And that's what Ayurveda, that's when Ayurveda comes into play. And so really Ayurveda believes that the elements that make up the universe, which we all know, air, fire, earth, water, and space, they are energetically in your body as well, and they make up your body's functionings. So each element governs different physical and emotional functionings in your body. So like air is controls your thoughts, your movements, your peristalsis, your food moving through your body, your breath, your speech, talking with your hands, that's big air quality. And fire rules your digestion. Runs your metabolism. It helps digest your food, but not just food, experiences. So it helps in learning and integrating experiences that you have, and helps in clearing and purifying the body. And then earth is your bone structure and your deep inner strength, your immune system. And then water is your lubrication through your body. It's like your eyes, your saliva, your stomach juices, the lubrication within your joints. And then we have space, which is the hollow parts of the body, like inside the bones, your lungs, your bladder, things like that. And so we have these 5 elements within our body that make up everything. And they're broken down into 3 mind-body types. So we have in Sanskrit, and I'll say these, but I don't, try to use them too much because it's so much for everybody to remember. But we have the Vata mind-body type, which is made up of air and space. So I just call it the air person. Air and space, air. Okay, so we've got the air person. Then we have Pitta. Pitta is has fire with just a little drop of water to keep it from overheating, but it's mostly just fire, so I just call that the fire person. And then we have Kapha. Kapha is earth and water. And so I just call it the earth person because earth has water on it. We all know that. So we've got the air, fire, and earth.
Air, fire, and earth. So how, but even if we are one of those body types, we still have all of the elements.
That's correct. So we have all 3 of these, what they're called doshas. This Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These body mind types are called doshas. And we have all 3 of these in our bodies, but one of them is going to be more predominant. So usually you're one and then secondary another. So how that's determined is a whole nother situation. So initially you have your constitution, what you were born with, and that's revealed in your Vedic astrology birth chart. So when you were born, the planets, they have elements like Mars is fire, Jupiter is earth, Venus is earth and water, so on and so on. And so when they plant and they when you're born, they shine on you, and so that creates your birth chart, right? And then so I can see through your birth chart what you were born, your main constitution is.
And how do is like this birth chart something that's something you do, or how do we find out what our birth chart is?
So you just need your birth time and your birthplace and your birth date. And then I have a program that I purchased through my schooling through Vedic Astrology to put your chart together, and then we do a reading, and we can see where the planets are and which houses, and definitely where your moon is placed is a big one, because that's your mental emotional health. And then what's in your first house, because your first house governs your body. So what sign is it? If it's Sagittarius, then that's ruled by Jupiter, so that's an earth person. Or maybe you're earth but you've got Mars in there too, so now you've got fire and earth. And so anyway, you do some calculations, and then that's how you find out what you were born with. Now as you grow up, do you live in Alaska or you live in Florida? Those are two completely different environments, and those are elemental environments. Florida, hot, humid; Alaska, cold, dry, right? So we have where you live, the house you grew up in, right? What was the energy there? And then relationships, food, lifestyle, what you expose yourself to, all have energies. Everything has an element in it. And like sadness is water. Anger is fire. So whatever emotions you are also portraying through your life, or what's being imprinted on you by family, friends, parents, things like that, can all create imbalances or increase the elements within your body. So then you can have imbalances as you get older. So we call that, you have the Prakriti, which what you were born with, and the Vikriti, which is where you are today. So a lot of the times what you were born with, you've kind of created some imbalances. So
it seems like the imbalances, I'm constantly going in a state of flux, right?
Yeah.
With my energy, and so if I was to figure out, can you tell just by talking with someone or looking at what their main sign is?
Yes. So it's not the end of the world if you don't know your birth time.
Okay.
I can tell by your body structure.
Okay.
I can tell by your demeanor. I can tell by, do you talk with your hands? Like, obviously you can see I'm an air person because I'm like, la, 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 talk, talk, talk. The level of intensity of your voice determines facial features, like blue eyes is a fire, is a pitta personality.
Okay.
Small eyes is vata. Big eyes is earth, kapha. So based on your body structure, based on your demeanor, based on your speech, and based on your current, what are you currently suffering from? I get acid reflux. I wake up, between 2 and 4 every night, hot, I'm throwing the blankets off, I have trouble falling back asleep. I just feel like I'm running around, go, go, go. I work all the time. Okay, well, it sounds like you got a fire imbalance. So, but then someone who's just like, I can't get out of bed. I'm just like lethargic. I'm tired all the time. I could sleep for days and I just can't recover. Like, I'm just constantly tired. I could skip a meal. Like, food is not, I'm not attracted to it. Like, I don't care. Then that's an earth imbalance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's so interesting. So it's like a tool you can use as one more, tool in your toolbox, I guess, for your self-care, right? So then what would you do? Like, once you find out and kind of learn a little bit more about what may be imbalanced or not imbalanced, then what would you actually do?
So there's a couple of ways. So one is, if this is over Zoom, like if I'm seeing a client one-on-one, and they don't live in the area, we do a verbal, interview where I ask them, all their ailments and like what they're suffering from. And then I evaluate, how they're talking and their mannerisms and everything. And then, so that's how I can determine, which element's out of balance. If you see me in person, you get an added bonus of a pulse diagnosis. And so I put my fingers on your pulse and I can feel all the elements. I can feel the fire, earth, and air. I also feel into your dhatus, which is your tissue layers, your blood, plasma, muscle, fat, bones, reproductive system, and nervous system. So I can see where you are imbalanced. Like, what's the root cause? Again, what's causing all of this? It could be something like Mamsa Pitta, which is like, what's that mean? Mamsa is muscle, Pitta is fire. So that means you have inflammation. Usually that is due to, overworking, not, dehydration, doing too much and not taking care of yourself, getting massages, doing oil massage. That's really good therapeutic remedy. But so pulse diagnosis and then tongue diagnosis. So with the tongue, shows your entire digestive system. So I can see where you might have inflammation here, like there's, heat in your heart, but then your digestion is cold, or like there's some, inflammation in your kidneys or your spleen. So things like that. So again, finding more of the root cause, like what's causing this. And then as far as treatment, it is, the saying we all hate to hear is, your lifestyle and your choices got you into this mess. So your lifestyle and your choices are going to get you out of this mess. And since we live here and, we're like, quick, we've got the microwave mentality. It can be, frustrating for people who, are used to just like, well, this pill just takes away my antacid, and then I can still drink alcohol, drink my coffee, I can drink my, eat my red meat, and still get to live life. But so there's a time when you have to go, I'm ready to listen to my body. I'm ready to be a caretaker for myself and an advocate for myself, and I want to live the healthiest, happiest, most fulfilling life that I can, not just for me, but for my family, for my friends. I want to feel good. I want to be happy. Right? I mean, I think we all want that. I don't think we want to wake up and be like, life sucks, and I just want to crawl in a hole, and why do we do what we do? Well, if you're questioning that, then maybe it's a time, this is the time. This is the time for you to seek out some answers. What are the root causes to what you're going through, so we can address those, change some lifestyle, and you can baby step, right? It doesn't have to be this huge. You don't have to come and see me and then I'm going to send you home with no more alcohol, no more coffee, no more, no more candy, no more sugar. It's baby steps. Yeah. We all kind of have ideas of like what needs to happen, but what we really need help with is like how to wean off of it. How to be consistent, and how to have a cheerleader and an accountability partner as well. So in a session, on top of all of that, the lifestyle got you into this mess. You leave with recommendations of organic food, substances like supplements, herbs, spices, recipes. There's a whole entire food list and lifestyle recommendations, sleep protocols, and each body type has their own depression. It's like different. There's different depressions in each. So there's a protocol for each one of those based on your mind body type. So you get to leave with just like this customized, like this is my little package of like all these remedies and lifestyle techniques and practices that are going to create this balance within me that is now like a toolkit that you get to take home with you and have forever.
That's amazing.
It's not like you don't need to come back to me to get a refill on your lifestyle recommendations, right? It's great to come back to find out what has settled.
And come in for a tune, like coming in for a tune-up.
Yeah. Like I got rid of the insomnia, but now I'm noticing So because the body's not going to tell me everything at once. It's gonna, when I do the pulse or when I talk to you, I'm gonna see what the main problem is.
Okay.
Like what's the first, ouch,
Yeah.
And a lot of it's sleep.
Okay.
Let's just get real, right? We all need more sleep. When are you going to bed, right? That's a huge one. What are you doing right before you go to bed? Is that creating, your mind to be racing? You can't, you got the screen going, in front of you?
Much screen time,
yeah,
right?
Are you trying to have a conversation with your husband or your spouse about, the kids and, because it's the only time you guys can finally talk is when you're in bed, and then the energy's rising, So there's little things like that. But in the end, you get tools, to last your life, and then you can get readjusted with other things that come up as those main imbalances subside. Then you get the little ones that are like, oh, okay, well now I'm noticing my joints. Like before, it was all in my head. I'm just nervous. I'm anxiety. I can't sleep. Blah blah blah. So let's get rid of that.
Yeah.
Let's get you focused. Let's get you grounded. And now you're like, okay, well now I'm noticing it's always been there, but now I'm like, oh, now I really feel it.
Well, I know sometimes that when we go to yoga together, and so sometimes you're like, oh, I ate some candy and now my joints hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing that you can feel that.
I know, and and it's just been recent that I've been able to connect that.
Yeah.
Because we're not really, I don't feel like we're really ever taught to listen to ourselves.
Well, not in this society.
No.
At least not when I was growing up. I think things are changing
Yeah.
for the better. And, there's so much more interest, I think, in holistic health and organic foods and yoga and movement and meditation. And
meditation is a huge one.
Yeah.
Meditation is when you sit with yourself, and you can really feel the energy and feel the aliveness within you. And then also when you connect with that, you can start feeling the discomforts. Or it's, and just being present day to day. Why don't you eat and not be on your phone? Eat, look at your food for one, because that's going to be the big indicator of, is this a good choice?
Oops, instead of just I ate it first, that donut, and then it wasn't a good choice.
That's our biggest, that's my biggest justification is just I'm on the go. I have to go through McDonald's. It's the only choice. I just got to do it. Mine shut off, click, But then once you sitting there and you're like, okay, I shouldn't be eating this. Or afterwards you're just I feel, icky or heavy, bloated, gassy, whatever it may be. If you take moments to connect while you're eating, chewing your food, feeling it, swallowing it, noticing how your body's reacting to it. It's so huge when you can just try it with your next meal. I swear, you will feel so different. You'll have a different relationship with your food, taking it in, chewing it, swallowing it, and then seeing how it feels, noticing how it feels later. It's fascinating. It really is. You can really tell what you should be eating and what you can't, which is when I realized the sugar really aided in my lower back and my joints hurting. Or my neck. I'm like, why can't I turn my neck? Is it seriously? I ate, a donut yesterday. Are you kidding me? A donut, and then this is
amazing.
How quickly it affects you. But that's what's so great,
because you're tuned in and you can notice it.
Yes, awareness is key. Because some people are like, I eat all the time. I don't notice anything. Wait until you become aware. Then you can really help guide yourself. And then it's not as hard to go off pure will, right? Because you're trying to I want this, but I need to quit it, and I don't want to.
Then you just feel bad, and
so
it just
addiction's way harder to overcome when you're still wanting it so bad. But when you connect it with wow, that made me feel horrible. It releases this hold, and it enables you to be able to detach from it a little bit more, and it's not so hard to quit it, or you don't really want to quit anything. You have to slow down. Moderation.
Balance, moderation.
Yeah.
Well, I am super excited to try this and to learn more and to come visit you. But I'm really curious, and I'm sure our listeners are too, is how did you get into it in the first place?
Oh yeah, okay. So my husband brought me here. So I was living on the west side, and I came here and I joined the local yoga studio, and they were hosting a weekend yoga, and I can't even remember the name of it. It was just kind of yoga for the elements. like elemental yoga. There was like a fire yoga, a sun yoga, and a water yoga, I think it was, and or a moon. Did I say moon? Moon, sun, and
water, fire.
Yeah, it was only 3, but it was like connected to the doshas, the body mind types. But I went there and she briefly touched on it. But when she talked about, there's an exercise for your specific body type. A yoga exercise, and I was just like, what? She's like, yeah, it's called, a dosha, and you can go, find a practitioner, to do a test for you and discover what your body mind type is. But there's a whole like food, lifestyle, exercise, just for your specific body type. And I'm just like, what? And she said Ayurveda, and I'm just like writing this down. I went home that day, I looked it up, was like, holy cow, it's like this whole medicinal system, ancient, been around. It's the main healthcare in India, and to this day.
Oh wow!
And so I was like, I want to learn about this, and then I was like, oh, you can go to school. Oh, you can become a practitioner. Like I could do this as a career. So I was just like, boom, boom, boom. Within a week, I was starting. So it was definitely meant to be, because when I found the school I wanted to go to, which was New World Ayurveda, based out of Maine, their course was starting a week from that day that I had inquired and was like doing all this Googling. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was just immediately meant to happen. And so I started on that journey and just kept going. And I learned Ayurveda, I learned inner guidance counseling, spiritual counseling, where you tap into your knowledge of your higher self to get the answers. I learned Vedic astrology, aromatherapy, meditation, and did I say pranic healing? I can't remember. And pranic healing, yes, energy work, the chakra system, the whole entire chakra system, and how to clear those out, because that's a whole other thing. We have these energy centers that govern different physical and emotional functioning, so to get those cleared out as well. So that's what created the holistic. Yes, you can go in the Ayurvedic training is mainly the food, the digestion, the body mind types, doing the pulse diagnosis, tongue diagnosis, the medicinal aspect of it. And then to gain the holistic, I needed to do the Vedic astrology, because we learned a little bit of it, but I did a whole nother year, to learn that course, and then a whole nother to do the pranic healing, and then a whole nother to do the spiritual counseling. So like this ongoing, I was like 5 years to create this. So I could everything Ayurveda. I had to get it all. I had to get it all in. I couldn't just stop. So and it all comes into play when you come see me for an appointment. You get all of that. You get every aspect, because it can be something on an energetic level that's causing the physical discomfort, a mental, emotional level, or it's an actual physical. So you have to be able to see all of those and be able to address all of them in order to create the balance.
Okay, I love it. It sounds like we could do 2 or 3 more podcast episodes.
Yeah, I know, right?
One on pranic healing, what is that? Each category.
Vedic astrology, what's that? Meditation,
And I'm so lucky. I live here in Cleveland, and you live in Cleveland. We get to go to yoga together and participate in different events. I get to come watch you sing at the musicals in Owensburg. But depending on when our listeners are listening to this podcast, we do have an event coming up. So do you want to talk about what you're doing at our Mind, Body, Spirit Mountain Wellness Adventure in May?
Yes. So in May, I'm doing an intro to Vedic astrology, your connection to the stars and planets. And so I'm going to just give a brief summary description of what Vedic astrology is, what the difference between Vedic and Western, Vedic is Eastern and Western astrology is, and what all the planets are, how they affect our emotions, and then a little bit on the signs that they're placed in, and then how that creates your individual personalities. So, and then I'll just have a little speaker session on that on Saturday, and then on Sunday, I'm offering 30-minute mini Vedic astrology readings. So you can either come to me with a certain aspect in your life that you're wanting questions about, or I can just look at your chart and just address the major planetary influences that are going on.
Okay, awesome. I can't wait. And we will put links to that in the show notes. And why don't you just share with the listeners how, if they want to get in contact with you, where do they go? Do you have a website or something like that? Okay.
Yes, so it's True Health Ayurveda, and it's TRU, there's no E in the true, and then health, and then Ayurveda, which is AYURVEDA.com. And so there you can learn all about Ayurveda and pranic healing, schedule any session that you'd like, group classes. I also do group experiences, and aromatherapy, make your own essential oils. So all sorts of fun things.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, Jodi, this has been awesome. I cannot believe how much I've learned in such a short period of time.
Yes.
I can't wait to come for my appointment, and thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for listening. See you next time for another episode of SHINEABLE. And remember, the world's a better place when you show up and shine.